Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining in good time. We'll be starting at noon, exactly noon. Yeah, so meanwhile, you can introduce yourself in the chat box, say who you are and where you're joining us from and which organization. Sharon Zisa from Moi University main campus. Thanks for joining us. Then we have Newton Angomia from Enactus Jomo Kenyatta University. He's talking about his overwhelming experience today. Good to hear. Then we have Peter Gashagwa, Annette Warimwe, Scarlett here from Lip Lip Consultants. And then Peter Gashagwa is from Eldoret West Campus. Hi, Brian. He's joining us from Budalangi, Enactus Jaramogi. Annette is saying she's also liking the sessions. They're very informative. So it's exactly noon. We are supposed to start at exactly noon and end exactly at 1 p.m. My name is to first of all welcome you to this session. My name is Mbuki Mburu. I am a youth worker and also a civic engagement officer at Power 254. And I'm excited to join you this afternoon to be able to deliberate in terms of technology and innovation and how can we sort of leverage the space to be able to advance the development in our country. So this afternoon, we are joined by our panelists. I'd like to introduce my panelist today. My panelist today is Ashraf Hisham Soliman. She works at Giza. So I'd like to welcome Ashraf to say hi to us.
My name is Ashraf Soliman. I'm working for Giza Systems for the past 15 years. I'm doing here the role of regional project managers for Giza Systems. Actually, Giza Systems is working in different technologies. Like we are doing some work in power sector, smart building, automation and control, and telecommunication. So we are covering a wide spectrum of different technologies, serving different sectors in Kenya and other East Africa countries.
Thank you, Ashraf, for the kind introduction. We have our second panelist today is Mustafa El Hossami. He's also coming from Giza Systems. Please, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and say why you're excited to join us this afternoon.
Okay, thank you all for the opportunity. My name is Mustafa El Hossami. I'm working as sales manager for utilities and oil and gas at Giza Systems. I joined Giza Systems in 2012 and becoming based totally in Kenya in 2014. Before Giza, I was part of ABB Process Automation division, also for sales vacancy. I graduated from Bachelor of Engineering in 2007. I'm excited because I feel that we are living an abnormal situation, that it's a global situation, which is for sure affecting our life, our lifestyle, behavior, and making a lot of change in the global picture and situation. So I'm happy to share some information and thoughts, and also listen from the other participant about their thoughts, how we can get benefit from this difficult situation that we are living.
Thank you, Mustafa. I think we have a rich panel this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to us having a very good and a candid conversation. Please, if you have any questions, you can put them on the chat box, or you can send them to info@ironkenya.com. We'll be excited to hear your questions, and please make this session a very interactive session as well. So I'm also being reminded the hashtag is Enactus Kenya Expo. Please also engage on Twitter so that you can have a very vibrant conversation as well. So I'll start off and talking about technology and innovation. It's always talked about, we generally human beings tend to to innovate or come up with, technology and all these ideas when they are in a very uncomfortable situation. And this is, if you look at, for example, currently we have a pandemic, COVID-19, and has put us in a situation where we need to rethink how we're doing our things. And therefore, this is an opportunity for us to, rethink ourselves. How have we been doing things, and how can we then be able to survive even in the future? So I'll just pose a question to our panelists. What are the new technology trends that have cropped up during this period? I'll take that question to Mustafa. Please take the floor.
Sorry, what was the question? I didn't hear it really.
I said during a situation like this, like the COVID-19, as human beings, we tend to sort of rethink how we do things and sort of try to create and innovate new ways of doing things. So what are the most, the new technology trends that are cropping up during this period?
Okay, as I mentioned, it's a different situation that we are living for, and we have to adapt ourselves to the current situation. For example, because of the spread of the COVID-19, we have been asked to, for example, in our case, to work at home. So now having physical offices is not becoming mandatory, which giving an opportunity even to work with companies or organizations that are no more within your physical boundary. So, for example, all days it was sometimes mandatory to be in Kenya to work in Kenya, or to be maybe in Gulf to work in Gulf. I think nowadays it's giving us an opportunity for everyone to join whatever organization he is willing to join, as long as he's able to prove his capabilities. And even the mindset of organization has been changed totally. They can just rely on person and candidates not within their geographical location, as long as they're able to deliver their duties and on time and everything. So I believe this is one of the most trend that is coming about remote work and freelancing, because it's an opening a big window for that.
Thank you, Mustafa. I'll pose the same question to Ashraf. And of course, Mustafa has talked about, the remote working, freelancing, and yeah, so those are the technological, the way of life that has shifted. But I would also like to pose the same question to Ashraf. In terms of technology, what are those technological trends that have cropped up now during the pandemic? And what are those innovation as well? As much as now the working environment is changing, what are those technology opportunities that exist and have already cropped up during this period?
So actually, let me tell you that we have two different approaches now. Some technologies that were already exist, but we start to emphasize on those technologies because it become more needed. And we have some technologies that we started from scratch. Like if we can talk about shopping and online shopping especially, you can see that online shopping is taking a new age completely after COVID. People now relying on online shopping, and everyone now is open his online stores. Big supermarkets or small supermarket or medium, everyone is relying on online shopping, and they start to emphasize on that business. As Mustafa just said about work from home, we have also the distance learning. Distance learning become more required now, and you can now study in any university or any college or school just online. So this is also one of the trends that become more and more needed. But if we start to think about the telehealth was not I believe it was not in our focal point at all. However, telehealth now and having your prime care or something like that become very, very needed, and it's a trend now. You can find a complete online doctor offices. You can just send or share with them your details or whatever, and you will have an online session. They will do the complete examination for you, and you can get the results, and you can get everything online. Also one of the completely new trend is the virtual reality. Virtual reality was very limited, but now you can open, the skies is the limit. You can visit any place in the world. You can do job or work. Even you can visit factories. You can visit new places, new countries. All of this on the virtual reality websites that come available, and I can say that government or nations, they are now doing this touristic places online with a certain fee. So it's a new trend actually. I think also we have some technologies that we used for it, but now we have a different way of using the technology, like the surveillance systems. We used to have these CCTV systems to monitor shops or streets, but now we are using the surveillance systems for assuring the social distance, for counting the number of people inside a place, monitoring the crowd or detecting the crowd, detection of personal protective equipment. So this is also it's like reinventing the old technologies that we have. Finally, in my point of view, I think Internet of Things become more needed. Internet of Things is just what we have in our life nowadays is because of the Internet of Things. We work from home, tracking your shipment, even telehealth. All of this happened because of the cloud, because of the big data, because of the collaborative tools of video conference softwares, of the chatting softwares, remote access for the computer and servers, VPN, mobile application. All of this come under the umbrella of the IoT, Internet of Things. And we actually manage the COVID because of the IoT. So I believe this is basically the trends that we focused on to manage the COVID in the past few months.
Okay, thank you so much, Ashraf. I'm just having Mustafa would like to add a point on the same. Mustafa, you have the floor.
Yes, for me,
and please speak up.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, for me, I believe that for my situation, I have to travel a lot. So I don't know how this kind of industry is going to provide me a safe service and so on. So one of the vital, I believe, trend is the virtual screening to monitor your health and reproductive system. It's not just about cameras, infrared cameras to detect if you have a fever or no. It's a complete system that allow to monitor maybe your heart rate, your temperature, if you have again also a fever or no, as well as in case of how many the breathing rate. So it's very important to at least to use those technology trends to gain again the trust of customers, because I'll be thinking many times before I join. I decide to travel for a business meeting or for somewhere to cross the border. So it will be very useful even for government to use those type of technology to assure that first of all the non-spread of the virus, because you need to be sure that you are not hosting someone who is already having the virus, and also to get the trust again of the consumers to use again the airlines. In addition to that as well, the robots and drones. We have seen a very excellent initiative by the Rwandan government, where they have implemented robots for treatment and screening of the people in quarantine and hospitals. Like that, they're protecting their healthcare workers, because, for example, in China, it has been shown that 29% of the people infected by COVID was from the healthcare workers. Also, those robots can use to deliver maybe food supplies for the people in quarantine, so that we avoid any type of contact between those people and also the healthcare workers, as well as drones. Because of technology of artificial intelligence, the people are able to use drones indoors without crashing, because all days they were using only the GPS and some sensors so that the drone can find its own way moving around. But now, using artificial intelligence, they can use drones for indoor disinfection, for hospitals where the quarantine is happening. And also, one of the trends that was there, like Ashraf said, but it's now becoming very important, is the 3D printing. The 3D printing is helping a lot nowadays in maybe fabricating the face shield to help also and support the health workers. The good thing about 3D printing is flexibility, because whatever you want to produce, you are able. You don't need to have a new production line like old days in factories to modify this production, or build or rehabilitate it, or have another bigger space. So it's very accommodative. You can accommodate it anywhere, and whatever you want to produce, you can do it easily.
Thank you, Mustafa. Both of you have quite given us, the different areas in which the technology has been used, and especially in during this time, during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm just wondering, things like online shopping, things like doctor's prescription, things like the robots and drones being used in the hospitals to protect health workers. How sustainable is this? In terms of, just even post COVID-19, are people still going to leverage on such opportunities? How sustainable is this? So I'll welcome Ashraf to respond to that.
So actually, I was just started my speech about the technology that I said it was already there, but what happened because of COVID-19? It was like a fast tracking of the technology. If you try to convince someone to replace the nurse with a robot, it will take ages to make people start to feel confident of having the robot to take your measurement, or to assist you with the medicine or whatever. But COVID-19 just fast-tracked those things. Now we are having this conference online. Yes, before COVID, if we try to set up this conference, it will take ages. But now it is just one email. I'm accepting the email. So COVID fast-tracked the technologies, make us more confident to jump to the new era of technology, which was already there, but I can say that thanks to COVID, yeah, we have some negativity, but we also have a lot of benefits came because of the COVID. So of course it's a sustainable goals. As I mentioned, all what we are talking about now is under the IoT umbrella, which is the Internet of Things. Internet of Things is taking care of the big data and how we can visualizing the big data that of the things that in our society using to help the organization and the industry. So we are just making use of whatever we have now by integrating whatever surveillance system we have, integrating the sensors that we have, the GPS for tracking, and we are making use of all of these things to serve our day-to-day life.
My apologies. Actually, my electricity sort of I have a blackout right now, and those are the challenges with technology, I guess. Just having all this technology, having online meetings, but then there's something that can still go off. But I'm happy that I've been able to join you back. Sorry, I missed the last part of your conversation, but I'll get back to you. Just post a question again, the same question to Mustafa. In terms of sustainability of this technology and innovation, how sustainable is it? And especially now we are looking at African context, we have challenges with electricity, things are still off and on. How sustainable is it? And especially for the African continent.
Yes, I believe some of those trends will sustain there for a while because it has been a while now since people have been asked, for example, to work from home, to have online learning and so on. So it is changing the lifestyle of the people. And I believe now, maybe 1 year back, people, I had a conversation before with a friend of mine while I was planning to buy something from Carrefour, or was planning to buy a fan. So I was telling him, okay, I saw the price on Jumia and so on. So I was telling him, don't trust those guys. I don't know them. I have to see the product and so on. So as Ashraf mentioned, what happened forced the people to change their lifestyle, their way of thinking. So now people are buying, maybe, for example, online more, depending more now on the platform like Glovo, Jumia. I think some of those trends like this, online, homeschooling and so on, it will remain for a while. People now used for it. They felt they had to use it. So now they felt it's comfortable. It's very comfortable that if I want to buy something from the supermarket, I just go and online on the platform or a portal, just a click and select, it will be delivered, saving time, saving money. So, but to keep this, the technology provider and the service provider have to maintain a quality of service and keep the satisfaction of the customer. Because if the service provider felt it's granted, people will, because it's granted now. Yes, everyone is now using online and home delivery and so on. But if the service provider felt it's granted, they will not be keen to keep a good level of service. So it's up to now to the technology provider, service provider. For example, to have an online meeting like that, or homeschooling, you have to have a strong backbone for internet connectivity. I believe all the ISPs, the telecom companies are feeling now that the focus before were for the commercial use. Now the residential use is booming, and they were not totally prepared for that. So in order to keep that now the connectivity, as you mentioned, also utility side, like power, the reliability of the source, and also the quality of service. Those will be the main factors to keep the same trend and build on what we have reached, which I believe is the good side of the COVID-19, that it is fast-tracked the introduction of new technologies, new trends, changing the way of thinking of the people. So I believe those will be the main factor to maintain this change.
Thank you, Mustafa. That's quite a very elaborate response. We are joined by students from different universities in Kenya. And in Kenya, we have had very brilliant minds in terms of coming up with different innovations, different technologies. But the challenge has been, support from either from the private sector or from the government. So you can see that young people are really struggling to put out their technology up there or even build it up. And even in instances where there are instances where young people have actually come up with the technology, but then it's taken over by someone else. So what opportunities exist for young people to be able to thrive in this space? I'll give this opportunity to Ashraf to respond to that.
So I think now in the big data era and the new online, it's technology become much more controlled. So if someone now can come up with a new idea or a new technology, he can just spread it on forums like what we have now, panel discussion and. So I believe it become much more open to have a team cooperating from different countries, from different perspective in a piece of technology, and it will be completely their right to have it. Adding to this, actually, if we start to think about what technology is needed now, you will find that everything needs development. I'm just going to build up on what you have had now. You said that you have a blackout, okay? But that means next time you will run for the online with a better service provider, or you will complain from the online meetings. This is mindset now. Your mindset become that I need a UPS. I need uninterrupted power supply source. So your mindset become more accepting to the new technologies. You will not complain from the online meetings. And this is the opportunities that people can have now. Before, it's about just having a meeting inside a boardroom or something like that, and we have to talk. But now we need power supplies. We need to make sure that we have quality of the internet itself. It's about now how we make sure that we have internet everywhere. So you are taking your internet from home to your mobile, and now people start to think about having a public internet on the streets. So a lot of opportunities and rooms are open for everyone to start to think about it. Now people start to talk about smart city, that everything is controlled remotely. You have a smart traffic light, you have a smart light columns, you have a smart entry to the facilities, smart access card, even a tracker for people, so you can track your team, you can track your vehicles. I can see that a lot of businesses and a lot of opportunities will be open, especially in countries like Kenya. You know, in Kenya, the infrastructure here is very promising. I can say that we can build a lot on the current infrastructure for the online payment, for example. Kenya online payment is very advanced. There is no need to have cash. Even there is no need to have the plastic card. You can just pay by M-Pesa. So even the internet is doing very fine here. I'm talking about the reliability and the speed. So if you start to think about, can we do a smart city in Nairobi? I can tell you, yes, we can. So this is a new opportunity. It's you can manage your traffic, you can manage your trucks, you can manage your shipment. Everything can be managed online. So shipping and is a new business. It's simple business and very new. People now relying on delivery for everything, almost for everything. Now you start to think about, can I have a delivery company which just come to my house to pick and deliver to whoever? Because of the small business or the online small businesses become more and more. You know, even here in my state, I can tell you that everyone here is selling something for the other. Because of having the people locked down inside home, they start to think about how they can do business from home. So they start having a small groups, start creating a small delivery companies. And because of the passion, because of the motivation, they start to think about why we are doing this inside the state. We can take it to the near state. And so small businesses relying on the technology and making use of the current situation. Actually, it's an opportunity. Some people, what I'm trying to say, that some people look to the COVID as an opportunity, not as a punishment. They are making use of even stay at home. They are making use of staying at home. They start to think about how they can making money from stay at home, making business because of stay at home. So I can say that we have a lot of opportunities, and we can rely on the infrastructure we have in Kenya to build up small businesses that can be very useful in the future, and very sustainable in my point of view. I'm just building up on your case. When you have a lockdown, blackout, you start to think about how I can develop. I will not go back to physical meeting. I need to develop what I have now. So people acceptance for the current situation become actually more and more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashraf. I think that's a very encouraging comment there. You start by developing of what you have now. I think that's very, very profound. And I like the way you talked about, you know, the Kenyan context, because the young people in this forum needs to understand what are those opportunities that exist. And I'm happy that you talked about, you know, the whole Kenya infrastructure and the opportunity that exists within the technology and innovation. So I think that was quite profound. I really like the way you're talking about, we have hope for Nairobi to become a smart city. So I think even the innovators in this conversation in here will sort of have an opportunity to rethink on how they can be able to make Nairobi a smart city. So I'll pose the same question to Mustafa, and what opportunities exist in the Kenyan space? For example, these are students here who are passionate about technology and innovation. Of course, Mustafa Ashraf has talked about the shipping, the smart city, the online transactions. What other opportunities exist for these young people to be able to utilize the Kenya's infrastructure? And I know Kenya is among those countries that are sort of ahead in terms of internet and the technological infrastructure. So maybe back to you to sort of expound on how these young people can also utilize some of these opportunities.
Okay, personally, I believe that Kenya has a very matured IT knowledge and know-how. the people are passionate about IT in Kenya here, so that's good. So because the coming era is for IT, for the technology, for the online, for applications, for big data, artificial intelligence. So I believe that the young people need to build on the passion that the country is having. Like Ashraf mentioned, the M-Pesa, I believe it's a pioneer in Kenya. I remember a few years back, I heard I believe something in the newspaper that saying that Bill Gates itself, he was emphasizing on the M-Pesa that Kenya is having. So I believe young people will need to build on this passion about technology. And also now technology is becoming affordable. It's you just Google anything that you need to know about it. You can have some online courses. Again, it's one of the trends again about online courses. So knowledge becoming accessible now through different platforms. Some of them are free of charge, others are for some fees. So it's up to all the options are available now, as long as you need to have the knowledge. What I really advise them is just to look around, see the challenges that we are facing in our country, in Kenya. I remember maybe 3 years back, a friend of mine had the idea of having something exactly similar to Glovo. He looked around and he felt that why every time people need to go to supermarket to buy, why they don't place their order online. He maybe was planning to do it in a different way, maybe by having his own fleet and so on, and so he's also managing the fleet, which unfortunately maybe gave him some obstacles to proceed. He felt maybe it's a little bit costly, but if we see now the platform of Glovo or something, they're totally, it's only the application, nothing else. They're depending on the fleet of others, of their partners. So now they're working in partnership. So they have reduced a lot the operational expenses and the capital expenses they're supposed to spend in at the beginning of any project or idea. So what I believe that there is a lot of opportunities in Kenya here. There is a lot of area that has not been touched yet, and it's just a matter about thinking about what your society, your community is facing, the challenges, and definitely those challenges will create a need at the customer. It's just how to work on it and how to go for the real action, not only starting and thinking about the idea without taking a serious action. Because the friend of mine now, he's really feeling sad because he didn't pursue this idea. He was supposed to be a pioneer in this in the country, that because he had the idea earlier than anyone else. I'm talking about 3 years back. That's a lot. Maybe, and also I encourage them not to be afraid of competition. Competition is very healthy for the business. It's only the matter of trying to find your competitive edge. What differentiates you among the other competitors? Because if everyone will think about an idea, then he is afraid that, okay, if I did this idea, someone else is going to copy me, so I'm not going to succeed. He will never do anything. He will stay steady state, stall at his place, because at the end, any idea coming, someone is going to copy it. So it should not be a stopover for you. This not be an obstacle. Just do the idea and try to make yourself different in terms of maybe quality, in terms of service, because at the end, it's a small world. Anyone can copy any idea anywhere, but it is you who differentiate yourself in front against your maybe other competitors. And as I mentioned, the more people compete, the more the society and community is aware about that. When Uber started, maybe people was not liking it, but now Little came and other applications. So the idea now, they are doing the marketing for the idea itself on your behalf. So it's not only you who is paying and bearing the cost of marketing or to change the way of thinking of the people and accepting of the idea. It's also others who are doing that. Now the only thing matter is now the service and the price and the quality and satisfaction of the customer. it's up to you now to decide or to help your customer to select your product, your service. It's the competition at the end is very useful for any type of business.
Very inspiring points right there. And of course, you talked about your friend who was not able to pioneer, you know, the technology that they had. So I think it's also encouraging for the young people in this conversation to go out there and actually start off your innovation. So I think that's a very encouraging. And don't be afraid of competition. Be the best that you can be and focus on quality and the service. So I think that's a very profound comments right there. So we have about 20 minutes remaining to our end of this conversation. So I'll allow any questions that we have. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. I can see a hand from Brian Muyekera. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Okay, hi guys. Hello, are you getting me?
Hello, Brian. Please go on.
Okay, good. So it's not actually a question, but it's a concern. As they have said that we actually have passion, but now we have ideas. And in most cases, when we raise our ideas, they just remain where they have been raised, just like here. We can talk of, as they have said, that we have to utilize opportunities or the challenges we have to create opportunities or come up with ideas. Just like now, we have COVID-19 pandemic. And with me and my friends as computer students and programmers, we thought of an idea. We tried to share to different organizations, but they never picked it out. Because if we talk of depending on memory of people for contact tracing and remembering, then it will end up almost half the country will get the virus because of the ghost spreaders. These are people, maybe they got the virus from somewhere, but they don't know if they have virus, and they innocently go and spread the virus to their families and other friends. So we're thinking of coming up with a technological idea that can help us track the trace the contact of people who are infected.
Thank you, Brian, for your question. I'll allow Mustafa or Ashraf to pick up the question.
So let me answer your question in a more generic one to address the issue, not to address the case. I know that a lot of ideas come and need someone to take care of the idea, like a sponsor or something like that. Nowadays, I can tell you that there is a lot of association worldwide. They are taking care of the startup, like you. So there is a forums for that. There is I don't just want to mention the names, but we can have a side chat. I can give you a lead of like 2-3 organization. You just submit your idea, and they are going through some qualification. And if the idea is qualified, they are giving some help to produce the first demo, and even they give the support to participate in forums or to participate in shows or something like that. Because as I mentioned, now ideas crossing the borders very, very, very fast and very easy. It's very easy now to make sure that your idea crossing the borders. So this is one of the things that you need to start to think about it. Don't just try to find a sponsor or a funder in your local community. No. What you are talking about now is like a multinational idea. So don't think local, think global. Look for those associations participate in whatever competition they have with your idea, because sometimes you think that you have the most good idea or the useful idea, but maybe it is not. So this is why those people have a qualification. You will be very confident at that time if your idea is really qualified or not, because it's a fair competition for ideas. This is actually number one. Number two, on the same, maybe you need to think about how you can even fund your idea with some of your friends or your teams or your colleagues, how you can do a demo and start doing marketing for your demo. It's not about just relying on others to support your idea. Why? You can try to do a demo between you, your friend, and start having a marketing campaign for this idea. This is also one of the things that can work on. As you are talking about computer, let me tell you also this. Most of the successful ideas now is the simplest one. Let me ask you, what is the biggest taxi company in the world? You will tell me Uber. And Uber, they don't own any taxi. Okay, if you start to think about what is the biggest travel agent in this world, you will find, like, for example, Booking or Skyscanner. They don't own a fleet of flights or hotels. So what is Airbnb? It is the biggest company that's doing hiring, and they don't own even a single apartment. So, you know, the nowadays idea is about global thinking and how you can make use of the technologies, how you can make use of whatever around you. So what I'm trying to say that as you are working in the computer or this science, you have a lot of opportunities. If you have one idea in your mind, but you can't do it now, still there is other opportunities without any capital to start. I give you like 4 examples in different sectors for the biggest company without capitals. Think about how you can start Uber. It's just about application. It is just an application. For you as an engineer or for any engineer or computer engineer, it is about efforts, not about capital, and it will be a good start. Maybe this is not your final dream, but still you can start up with ideas like that. Then you can build up your capital so you can execute your dream idea. So I'm trying just to give you like 3 different approaches.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Ashraf. We have more questions coming in. I don't want to lock out anyone. We have a question as well from Paul Oreje. Please raise your question. Unmute yourself and raise the question.
Well, thank you very much, Mbuki Mburu. Listening to Ashraf comment on the question from Brian, it got me thinking about something I have been reading this past week from an economist called Joseph Schumpeter. Joseph Schumpeter talks about creative disruption, how new entrepreneurs are seeking to provide efficiency. They're seeking to create new ways of doing things in a manner that disrupts the normal. A very good example is Twitter or even Facebook. Right now, we can be able to receive news on our phones. We don't need TV because technically not all of us can afford it. The only few people who might need TV are those who want to understand, like, what does this mean? For example, if the US government says that this and this is going to happen concerning immigration, what does that mean? That's the reason we need TV. But then again, you've seen apps like Twitter. At the same time, technology does not mean that it has to be an app. Not everything can be solved through an app. I've just heard about an instrument that can that can detect heartbeats and blood pressure. I have a grandmother who does not believe in phones. She claims that devils are speaking on the other side. How am I able to monitor her? How am I able to know how she's doing health-wise? I have to use this particular invention on her. Also, phones are I'm very sure in the next coming age, we're going to have a very unique thing where even fingerprints, right now we are in a corona situation. Fingerprints on our phones, we will be able to determine what's our blood pressure, our heartbeats, are we having high temperatures, and that is the unique thing about technology. Post-COVID, we are going to have something very, very unique in terms of technology. Every single company is going to dive into the space and try to create solutions. So as young people, we need to identify that space as much as early as now. I'm doing a lot of things here. I mentioned earlier that Zoom, I took a tutorial on Zoom. It's because these new spaces are giving us new ideas of how to do things. And we are looking at a situation where even more platforms for communication, which are more efficient, are going to come up. I'm looking forward to an internet connection that is less cheaper than what I'm paying right now. Thank you, Mbuki.
Thank you, Paul, for that elaborate question, a very passionate one. I don't know, whom are you directing your question to? Ashraf?
Well, anyone can answer. Anyone can answer.
Yes. Mustafa or Ashraf?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, the problem of adapting technology is the mindset of the people. Like exactly the example that you are saying about your grandmother, that she don't like phones and so on, which I really agree with you that as I mentioned also in my example, people didn't like online shopping before. They didn't trust it until they're forced now to try it. So it's matter of only trying the technology, so that we believe in the service that we are going to get from this technology. It's not supposed to be an app, as you mentioned. Any type of those trends can be used for any small idea, and I need to emphasize also on the point that you're not supposed to start big. Just if you have an idea, just try it first with your community, with your society, with your closed group. That now after that it will be even less investing in terms of capital, and also you will know the pro and con of the technology or the service you are providing. I know it's not easy to convince people with new ideas, but the more this idea or technology is touching a real problem and challenge, the more people will be willing to try it and find if it is going to solve the problem. I'm expecting, like you mentioned exactly, there will be a very big wave in terms of technology coming on. Smart, for example, smart watches, which are not expensive nowadays. Some of them are not expensive. They're able by your fingerprint really to detect your heartbeat, your pressure, and everything. So it is changing the way of what people were used to do things and thinking. So my advice that just try to figure out again the challenge. Start small. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't know if this idea is going to be successful or no. And ask the people, like Ashraf mentioned, having the demo. People, when you explain for them the idea, maybe they are not able to maybe accept it or imagine how it will work. But if the demo will help you to market your idea and change the mindset of the people and the acceptance of this new technology or new solution. That's it, yeah.
Thank you, Mustafa. I think that's a very good response. We only have 6 minutes. So we need to start concluding now. But mine is to thank the panelists for just unpacking the whole situation, and we have sort of gotten a very good an overview of this whole discussion. So first of all, very good conclusion from Mustafa. You say identify a challenge, think about the solution, and put it into action. And then Ashraf talked about think global. Even as much as your idea is not being funded locally, think about how can you get support from in a global platform, and of course think about doing a demo such that people can actually understand your idea, because they can only support what they understand. So I think that was a very good discussion, and I'll allow the panelists, they are both from Jesus Systems, to sort of do a concluding remark, but as well talk about what Jesus System has been up to. I know we had a discussion yesterday with Mustafa, and you talked about the different things that you're doing at Jesus Systems. Maybe you can just give us a snapshot of what Jesus System is doing and what opportunities as well these young people can plug in. So I'll give you about 1.5 minutes to say your concluding remarks, and then we can wrap it up. Thank you.
So my concluding for the discussion and my advice for the young people joining us, we have a lot of opportunities in where we are living. I'm not talking about Kenya only, I'm talking about, as Ashraf mentioned, globally. We have a lot of opportunities that people can get benefit from it and use it to find service that it's lacking at the people. So just stay focused, try to look around you. What kind of issues your people are facing. Maybe you'll find that even you're facing a problem, but because of it's a common one, so you got used for it, so you're only adapting yourself. No, don't adapt yourself to the problem. Look for a solution for it. Solutions nowadays are no more expensive like old days. Small app can cost little bit money if we're talking about some apps, and it's very easily between people. Us in Giza Systems, we also focus on those trend and digital transformation. For example, we have participated in the support of healthcare workers in Egypt. We have 3D printing, so we decided to support them in their on a job that they're doing, because they are the first line protecting people from COVID-19. So we had an initiative to produce, I believe, like 3,000 face shields per day using the 3D printing, as well as also we have also one of the subsidiary for Giza is focusing robotics for production lines and so on. So we believe that this is the coming era, that we will have to depend on technology somehow to face a situation like that. If we are well prepared for such situation, it will be much easier, and the impact of it. The most important is not winning the war of COVID. The most important is to keep the safe and security of the people after the COVID-19, and also
Thank you, Mustafa.
to have somehow stability.
We're out of time. Please allow Ashraf. Sorry about that. Please I'll allow Ashraf to do the concluding remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
1 minute, please.
That's okay. I think that what we can conclude that even on the hardest time, a lot of opportunities are there. It's just about look to the right direction, look to the opportunity. Don't try to frustrate yourself. What also I can say for the audience of for us today, that most of the great ideas are very simple. So don't try to complicate yourself. Don't try to complicate your idea. Try to make it as simple as you can. At that time, you will find a lot of audience for your idea, and it will be very, very applicable and appreciate it.
Thank you so much for keeping it short, Ashraf. Mine is to thank our panelists for the great discussion, for the great deliberation, and also to our participants today for making it a very interactive session and for your questions as well. At this point, I would like to wrap up. Have a great afternoon and all the best as you innovate and venture. Thank you so much.